Stuck in a small guest house in the backpackers district in Jakarta. These Afghans have just arrived. They don't want their identities to be revealed. They're on their way to Australia, a long and hazardous boat ride away. To stop them, Australia has frozen asylum requests from Afghans or Sri Lankans. The government says changing conditions mean there's less reason for them to flee their homelands. An outrageous decision according to these asylum seekers, because it contradicts the US decision to send more troops to Afghanistan. The men tell me they still will try to go to Australia by boat.
We will go. Our problem is life risk. Life risk we have in our country. So we are sure about this, that the Australian government will not slaughter us like Taliban.
They're still arriving here nearly every day, people escaping Afghanistan and Sri Lanka on their way to Australia. And it is here, in this low-budget tourist area, where they hook up with people smugglers. And these smugglers don't seem to be deterred by the new Australian policy.
This smuggler has made thousands of dollars arranging boats for asylum seekers to Australia. He is convinced that the Australian freeze won't stop people from going.
What
we have heard is that the Afghans will be put in prison in Australia for maybe 6 months. But that won't scare them off, nor the Indonesia crew. These Australian prisons are so much better than in Indonesia. They are like hotels. This policy doesn't stop people from going.
Australia's stance is likely to ruin an agreement these Tamils from Sri Lanka had with the Indonesian government. Around 140 Tamils are still stranded on a boat in West Java. They've been there for 6 months. They finally agreed to leave the boat until they heard of the new Australian policy. Since then, more than 30 have disappeared. And the others refuse to leave until they get a guarantee they won't be detained. Journalists are not allowed onto the boat. I spoke to their spokesman through Skype.
I request the Australian government, we Tamils request the Australian government to reconsider that. Only the war is over in Sri Lanka, but the people are being still persecuted. Still there's an ethnic problem between the Sinhalese and Tamils. So the ethnic problem not stopped yet. So they didn't give any solution for Tamils. Until that, the people can't stay there freedomly.
The Tamils hope the Indonesian authorities won't use force to get them off the boat. They think the Australian government should still grant them asylum, as their request was made before the new policy was announced. Vaessen, Jazeera, Jakarta.